Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. Liz Warren dropped out, started as like a top-tier candidate, just like Kamala, dropped out. There's an article in BuzzFeed, and a lot of people are like saying, oh, they're making this, they're trying to play identity politics. Oh, it's just left to two old white guys. What happened to the women of 2020? Fears of electability? Elizabeth Warren exit leaves the presidential race primarily between two old white men. All those little girls she said are going to have to wait 4 more years. Boy, the neoliberal corporate media establishment just refuses. They can't see past anything that's identity politics. It's unbelievable. These women aren't electable. No. Centrist policies aren't electable. Then the Democratic establishment said, we're backing Joe Biden. So blame your corporate overlords. Blame Obama. Blame Tom Perez. Blame Hillary Clinton. They're the ones that push this. It's really? Every time I get introduced as the most powerful one, I almost cry because I wish that were not true. Klobuchar, centrist. First ever gay candidate. Mayor Pete, centrist. They all ran on centrist platforms. It's unbelievable. They tried to call Bernie, a socialist. Mayor Pete was like, he's trying to burn the whole house down. By what? Giving people Medicare for all and $15 an hour? It's so stupid, this incremental centrism. That's why you lost. Liz Warren claimed to be Native American when she really wasn't. Liz Warren said, I'm not taking, corporate money in the primary, but I will in the general. And then said, I got to take money in the... She sold Bernie out. She made that crap up about... He said her campaign leaked that nonsense story about how he said a woman couldn't be president, and then did that obviously bullshit with the hot mic saying, and then wouldn't shake... He tried to shake her hand. He goes, did you call me a liar? No, you called him a liar, Liz. You're a liar. Amy Klobuchar had nothing but platitudes. Same thing with Mayor Pete. When he announced his candidacy in every interview I ever saw, he just had platitudes. $15 an hour, Medicare for all, student debt forgiveness, free public colleges and universities, ending the regime change wars, and a Green New Deal. Those are policies. How are you going to pay for it? Okay, very clear. We'll actually make companies like Amazon that made $11.2 billion in profit, they paid $0 in taxes. There's hundreds of billions of dollars you could get just by making corporations pay taxes. There's more hundreds of millions of dollars by taking away their tax breaks. Yes, they paid $0 in taxes and got tax subsidies. There, I just explained Bernie's policies. Nowhere in that did they say, we need to beat Trump. That's all any of them had to say was, we got to beat Trump. Tom Steyer and Bloomberg dropped out. 2 billionaires. That was offensive that they were even in the race. They just bought their way to the head of the line. Oh, there's no more women running. I don't know. Tulsi Gabbard? Tulsi Gabbard is still running for president. Yeah. And this thing is like, oh, what's she doing? So we go over here to BuzzFeed. Oh, it's electability. It's the burn bro sexism or whatever that article says. And here's a woman of color. Why hasn't the corporate media gotten behind this? She's a woman of color. She's a combat vet. She's a major in the National Guard. Oh, she's anti-war. There you go. She made the egregious mistake of saying, wait a minute, the American empire and the defense contractors, I'm not down with what they're doing. Oh, now she's an Assad apologist. See how the dumb, hypocritical weaving? We need more women of color. Here's one. Oh, Assad apologist. And part of your problem, corporate Democrats, is you keep hanging your hat around Hillary Clinton. I took a screen cap, actually, of this whole article. This is a CNN article. What's on it? What's the big ad? Hillary. The Hillary documentary. Oh, where she claims she's such a victim. Here it is again. This is unbelievable. Really? Hillary? Oh, oh, and Bill Clinton in the documentary says, "Oh, I had the anxiety of being with my, of being president. I had to relieve my anxiety by being with Monica Lewinsky." Oh, really? Wow. That's how, so. Is the 26 times you wrote on Clinton's plane, Epstein's plane, Bill Clinton? Was that relieving anxiety? And she was on it twice. When Hillary and Bill went to Epstein's compound numerous times in New Mexico, was that relieving anxiety? You're so full of shit. You're neoliberal, pedophile supporting bullshit. You're so full of it. Here's a woman of color. She's a combat vet. That's why. You couldn't back the actual woman of color, the actual legitimate presidential candidate. Her and Bernie are the only real, but you could, why didn't they, oh, she's awful. She hates gays. No, she spoke out about that. She's told about that. Human Rights Watch has given her a 100% rating. Right? Even the ties to Modi. That's a very complicated situation. I've even been given articles that show wow, Modi has given scholarships to Muslims and okay, it seems like a very complicated situation. It seems like unless you live there, it's hard to truly understand it. I always make the equation of Northern Ireland, which I've never been to and I don't live there. I'm an Irish American. So let's, I mean, ask Tulsi that question point blank. Let's sit down and let's talk about Modi. Let's get some real information about what Modi's doing right now. Is he being a fascist? Is he locking up non-Hindus? Is he doing stuff like that? Okay, let's get some real information about that. Corporate media. You can send people over there. I can't. Ask some legitimate questions. The only thing that's been said about Tulsi has been smear tactics by this warmonger. And Tulsi called her the queen of warmongers, which Hillary Clinton is the queen of warmongers. She wrote the OFF Act. Let's talk about her Medicare for All plan. What is it? I think she calls it single player plus. It's a tongue twister, needs better marketing. But let's ask her real questions. She's a woman running. No, it's that same nonsense. Oh, America is so sexist. Anyone that didn't vote for Hillary was sexist. No. If I took Hillary Clinton's voting record as a senator and all right, stuff she's championed, she stumped for Bill Clinton's NAFTA. She stumped for NAFTA. As a senator, she voted for the Iraq War, voted for the Patriot Act. 20 countries donated to the Clinton Foundation. All 20 of those countries got defense contracts when she was Secretary of State. That's not tinfoil hat, that's a matter of public record. If a white male did everything Hillary did, there's no way you would vote for that guy. So just wake up. Oh, Liz Warren, that no one wanted the Old Boys Network. Really? The Old Boys Network?
We renew our resolve that America will never be a socialist country.
Liz Warren standing while a bunch of idiots, mostly white males, chanting USA, and Trump said, we will never be a socialist country. That's why people, you couldn't even, you just repeated Bernie Sanders' points, but Bernie was sitting during this. You couldn't even do that. So this politician's voting record, actions, campaign didn't resonate with the people. It wasn't her gender. It was a history of not being who she said she was. You're a big progressive who wants to resist Trump at every turn. You just stood for him. Native American. She lists American Indian. This is in 1986. This is the State Bar of Texas. This is what helped her get into Harvard. She was a faculty member at Harvard because they wanted to hire a woman of color. Another thing too, she took money from 6 billionaires. Forbes magazine put that out there, not sexist burn bros. Forbes magazine laid out. Biden, 60 billionaires. Klobuchar, 21. Mayor Pete, 40-something. The reason Biden is surging is because the corporate media keeps giving him a free pass because he's got Obama and the Clintons behind him. Oh yeah, who else funds the Democratic Party? There's Harvey Weinstein. He was just convicted. He's given over $2.3 million. Obama, there's Hillary, John Kerry. Oh, there's Liz Warren. See the problem? You can't sit there and scream about it's sexism and unfair when there's Kamala Harris. Yeah, remember Kamala Harris? Why wasn't she? Well, because America's too afraid to have a black woman. No, because she said stuff like this.
Okay, so I say with all love and warmth that part of the concern also for people who are progressive thinking and liberal-minded, or just progressive thinking in terms of just fix it, is that we all have these posters in our closet that is attached to a stick that we sometimes will card out when we're talking about criminal justice policy and those statistics that you first heard when we opened it up, incarceration, and we run around with these signs.
Don't stop saying we, Kamala. You've never held a sign like that.
Build more schools, less jails. Build more schools, less jails. And we walk around everywhere. Build more schools. We protest. Build more schools, less jails. Put money into education, not prisons. There's a fundamental problem with that approach, in my opinion. And it's this. I agree with that conceptually. But you have not addressed the reason I have 3 padlocks on my front door.
Yes, I did, Kamala. If we had more schools and less jails, people wouldn't need to resort to crime. If we had education, if we had, I don't know, free public colleges and universities. Maybe if Kamala Harris had that platform, maybe if Kamala Harris hadn't gotten funding from Steve Mnuchin for her to be Attorney General of the state of California, where she proceeded to put hundreds of thousands, at least 100 and some thousand people of color behind bars. See, Kamala, if you had actually been a progressive your whole life, Bernie Sanders has been saying the same thing for 4 decades. If Elizabeth Warren had been saying the same things for 3-4 decades, we would all get behind her. But you know what? Three decades ago, she was a Republican. Don't give me electability. Get out, take off the blinders of your identity politics and look at policy. Get out of your BuzzFeed or your Politico or your CNN newsroom in either LA or New York or DC and actually go through the middle of the country and see that 60% of this country does not have $500 to $1,000 in savings, yet working all the time. And then you put out these statistics, oh, the economy's doing great, the stock market. Anybody driving Uber and Lyft and Grubhub and having 3 jobs and no health insurance and barely getting by and no savings and no retirement? Anybody, is the stock market helping you? Medicare for all helps people. $15 an hour minimum wage helps people. Bernie Sanders fought and got that at Disney and Amazon. People's lives at Amazon are better because Bernie introduced the Stop Bezos Act. Going from $10 an hour to $15 an hour, is that like a drastic life change and everything? But it's gonna make it a little better. He's made like people's lives better. $1.5 trillion in student debt. He wants to forgive that. You want to mock people? This is offensive. That's why you lost. Liz Warren standing up for Trump is why you lost. Klobuchar having nothing but platitudes is why you lost. Pete Buttigieg going to a wine cave is why you lost. So you want a strong, tough woman that's a leader? How about back Tulsi Gabbard? Because remember this was the anointed one? She's a top-tier candidate. Remember that? I remember this.
Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. That would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place. That impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response?
I just got my ass whooped.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response,
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who were on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
So yeah, there's a woman who's still running for president. Her name is Tulsi Gabbard. And she's going to be on stage unless the DNC somehow blocks her with Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, who can barely remember his name now. Joe Biden, who also signed the 1994 crime bill, the racist crime bill that put a bunch of black people behind bars. He wrote the bill. It was signed by President Clinton. Hillary Clinton stumped for it. That's your problem, Democratic Party. You shun people like Tulsi. You shun people like Bernie Sanders, and you let in every corporate centrist, and then you wonder why you lose. You wonder why you lose. Beto O'Rourke, he took more money from the oil lobby than anybody else except Ted Cruz. Wow, what a bold second place to come in. You're almost as awful as Ted Cruz. Nice. Don't blame electability. Don't blame sexism. Don't blame identity politics. Blame your failed policy. Blame the fact that the Democratic Party does not give a shit about working class people. The Republican Party doesn't either. They're just better at masking it. The Democrats are Goldman Sachs in a rainbow flag. Why didn't Pete resonate with millennials and the gay community? Because he's a centrist. That's why. It wasn't America wasn't ready for a gay president. They're not ready for another CIA asset president. Give us what people want. I'm not voting for Bernie Sanders because, well, I actually just voted for him. I didn't vote for him because he's going to be the first Jewish president. Sure, that'd be cool, but Bloomberg could have been the first Jewish president. That's horrifying. I'm voting for Bernie because of his policies. I like Tulsi Gabbard because of her policies and her voting record. That's why I like these two candidates. Are they perfect? No. but they don't have a history of lying and taking money and being weasels. Guess you want to know the two candidates that have never taken money from billionaires and super PACs? It's Bernie and Tulsi. Warren, another thing she lied about. Klobuchar and I are the only ones that don't take super PAC money. She tried to make that a gender issue. The guys are taking it. Bernie doesn't take that. Tulsi Gabbard doesn't take that. You're lying again. That's why nobody voted for you. That's why you started up here and you nosedived. People are just like, well, but the DNC is cheating for Biden. So get some policies and candidates people want. Make people's lives better. Obama had 8 years. I voted for him twice, I am embarrassed to say. He let the bank steal my home and 6 million other homes. Yeah. He took us from 2 wars to 7. He deported 3 million people, the most a president in America has ever done. Obama built the cages at the border. Obama separated families at the border. And you know who his vice president was? Joe Biden. So don't tell me Joe's the answer. Don't tell me people don't want to vote for a woman. They want to vote for someone that's going to make their lives better. The #1 cause of bankruptcy is medical bills. There's 500,000 people living on the street. We had 8 years of Obama. That should have been fixed if he was such a liberal hero. He was not. He expanded the Arctic drilling twice. He said, let's see how Standing Rock plays out. We still have contaminated water in Flint, Michigan. That all happened. Yemen, that all happened under the Obama-Biden White House. So wake up. Pull your head out of your college-educated neoliberal ass. You say the right wing votes against their own interests. The college-educated neoliberal is worse. I'm sorry, they're worse than the red state voter that's not that sharp. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The neoliberal is the worst. They're the dumbest. They're the worst people. They're the worst. Malcolm X said it. Malcolm X said it. Malcolm X said it. You refuse to acknowledge how awful Obama and Biden were. How are you different than the Trump supporter that says, oh, Trump never lies? When the people say that, well, that person's crazy. They have no sense of reality. Yes, I agree. And so is the person who's like, Obama was great. He dropped more bombs than Bush. He dropped more bombs than Bush. So neoliberal living in the suburbs with your college degree, you weren't bombed to smithereens in the Middle East. Like all those people of color that Obama and Biden killed. Drone strikes. So, there's still a woman running for president. Her name's Tulsi Gabbard. And her and Bernie Sanders could crush Trump. Crush them. And if the DNC screws them over, I will not back Joe Biden. I will not. If Bernie Sanders tells me to, I will abandon Bernie Sanders forever, and Tulsi and anyone else that stays on with this utterly corrupt, stupid party. If Tulsi and Bernie tell me, hey, you gotta vote for Biden, Graham, I'm gonna say absolutely not, and I will spend the entire summer going for a third-party candidate and denouncing Bernie and Tulsi if they do that. Still a lot of primaries left to go, and they can still win it, but the DNC is actively cheating. They are doing voter suppression. They did it in Texas. They did it in all these states on Super Tuesday. Thanks for watching the show, everybody. Like, share, and subscribe. My name is Graham Elwood. Go to grahamelwood.com for all my tour dates. Ron Placona and I will be in Florida March 12, 13, and 14. Orlando, Tampa, Miami. April 24th, we're in Seattle. April 25th, we are in Portland, Oregon, and we're going to shoot our comedy specials on April 25th. It'll be a special night. We'll have a 3-camera shoot. It's going to be really awesome. Ron and I are each going to do on the Progressive Comedy Tour, we each do 45-minute sets. So we're going to have cameras there. We're going to shoot and edit. So Ron and myself will each have our own cool 45, 50-minute comedy specials. And we're also going to release albums. So come to the Portland show. It'll be a special night. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and shave your knuckles for justice.